welcome everyone, and congratulations on showing up for what could be the most important shift in your job search and your mindset in 2025. Hello, I am Coach Don Martinez, Master Certified Coach and NLP practitioner. I want to begin with one powerful truth. Your results don't change until your mindset does. And in today's hiring landscape, it's not just about having the right resume. It's about having the right mental code. Yes, mental code that attracts alignment, confidence, and momentum, even when opportunities seem hidden from plain sight. So let me tell you this. This is not a tip or trick session. This is a deep dive into your brain, beliefs, and behavioral patterns, which have been influenced with every application, every interview, and every result. So whether you have been ghosted after an interviews, scan job boards at midnight, or doubting if anyone has even seen your resume. See, this session will help you recode your confidence, reframe rejection, and reignite your direction using proven strategies from NLP, neuroscience, and the elite career coaching process. Now, by the end of the webinar, you'll walk away with the following: mental tools to shift your identity. And you might want to write that down: shifting your identity. We will also touch on language patterns that attract callbacks. Now, I want you to hear this one more time. The two things I mentioned, shifting your identity and attracting callbacks with language patterns. See, this is a one-day workshop. So on this webinar, I'm not going to go into the details. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the technology. If you are that individual that is on the fence and you have struggled and you know who you are, this is probably going to be the game changer for you. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to help you create a roadmap to navigate the 2025 hidden hiring market like an insider. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my background. So I, for the past 25 years, have run a retained executive search firm. So companies hire me to help them hire. So I am giving you my insider information. So I want to tell you something. Again, this is not about hustle. Think about that for a moment. This is about alignment, something that you are missing. This isn't about sending more resumes. Think about that for a moment. It's about becoming the kind of candidate people are drawn to. Think about that for a moment. A candidate people are drawn to. So let's get started. And in the chat button, type that you're ready. Thank you. Okay, so why most job seekers repel opportunities? We touch on the unconscious fears that create resistance in interviews. We look at negative self-talk and these limited belief blocks of success. And the third one, as I mentioned, it is misalignment between the goals and internal identity. Excuse me for that. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to break down specifically how to help you. So again, why most job seekers repel these opportunities. So what we do is we help you uncover and reframe this unconscious thought patterns, fears and identity, conflicts that sabotage job search success. See, there are things that you, the job seeker, are doing that is what I call outdated patterns of language. See, what you're doing is you're using past experience to help you try to get a job in today's market. Well, let me give you a clue. It's not working. And you are that individual that knows. If you have been struggling week after week, month after month, then here is your wake-up call. See, the key is about reframing this unconscious thought patterns. Think about that. So, this unconscious fear creates resistance in interviews. See, many job seekers are aware that the results of this fear, the fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, or bottom line, the fear of failure. See, your tone, your voice, your body language is communicating something. And the question is, what is it saying? Chances are you are tapping into this outdated language. And by the way, as you are tapping into that outdated language, you are also tapping into these fears of rejection. And by the way, you may not even realize that that's what you are projecting. So, when you are preparing for an interview, what is the first emotion? Think about that. What is the first emotion that shows up for you? Think about that. And I want you to write down that particular question. What is that emotion more than anything? Okay. So what I want you to do is we have an activity. It's called the silent journaling prompts. And it starts with this. I ask you this question. What am I afraid of that they will find out about me? See, there's something that you might be sending this message. And it's that fear that is speaking without words. So what we do is in our one-day workshops, we dive into this particular activity. But more importantly, what we do is we get into a group discussion and we explore how fear manifests both physically and behaviorally. Yes. See, the behaviors that you have become the physical aspect of what you are projecting. Now, what happens next is this negative self-talk and limited beliefs that block success. So here's an explanation. Thoughts like, I am not qualified. They probably have someone else in mind that is better than I am. See, here is where that negative self-talk, you have created this by telling yourself this message. So I want to introduce you to a concept. And that concept is called the job search inner critic. It is an NLP pattern, and it goes like this. What do you say to yourself right before you hit the submit on a job application? When you're applying to these jobs, what are you saying to yourself? Is it the cross-finger syndrome, or is it I hope that I get a call? So what we do is, again, in our workshop, is we meet in a breakout group and we identify, and I want you to write these down, the top 3 negative self-talk phrases. The 3 negative self-talk phrases. You're going to want to write that down. And as I mentioned, you're not going to have time to go over this right now, but you can do it after. Now, we also go through what we call this reframing exercise. And this is, by the way, a big one. And what it is it changes the voice. But here's the thing. When you change the voice of your best friend's tone, think about that. Think of a person that is one of your best friends. And listen to their voice. What is the tone of their voice saying? And by the way, what would they say instead? Remember the negative self-talk phrases? What would your friend's voice and tone say instead? You're going to write that down. That'll be an exercise for later. And number 3, the one misalignment between your goal or goals and your internal identity. And here's the explanation. Job seekers may want an executive title, a remote lifestyle, a new industry role. But this subconsciously is what you are telling yourself. Somebody else belongs in this role. Maybe it's not you. See, again, it's this particular misalignment of your ability to have confidence in yourself. So again, I want to introduce you to another concept, and it's called the identity behavioral gap. When you ask, do your habits, thoughts, and decisions reflect someone already in the role? Let me repeat that again. Do your habits, think about that, your thoughts and decisions reflect someone already in the role? Think about that. Now, what is going to happen when you're thinking about that is I want you to access within you. So here is where we work on this exercise. And the exercise is to write one sentence of career identity statement. As I mentioned, we're not going to go into the details of this now on this webinar. This happens in our one-day workshop. Now, here is a crucial piece to this puzzle. It is a visualization prompt where you picture yourself confidently walking into your dream role. Yes. And I'll go over that in a bit. But what do you believe about yourself in that moment? Again, let me repeat that. Picture yourself confidently walking into your dream role. What do you believe about yourself in that moment? So if you could imagine, visualize yourself walking towards a building, walking through the front door, sitting in the lobby, waiting patiently to meet the hiring manager. Now, when you are walking in with that confidence, are you seeing yourself in this dream role? Now, here is what you're going to get from this outcome. Now, by the end of this session, you will be able to have that identity of this unconscious drivers behind self-sabotage. You'll begin to reframe this internal narrative using NLP-style pattern interrupts. And again, like I said, we're not going to go into the details on that. That is what we are teaching in our class. So again, you're going to write out your career identity statement that will guide your alignment. That's right. So what it will give you is it will help you build unshakable confidence. That's really the goal. See, most individuals lack the confidence, even though they might tell you, I am a confident person. But when game day shows up, here is where they have a habit that shows up. And this old pattern and old data shows up. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to look at empowering you as a job seeker with this mindset mastery by using NLP, visualization, and more importantly, the nervous system where we're going to work on that. So what we do is we embody confidence. We help you to access this information to prepare you for interviews, networking. And by the way, it might be those high-stake moments in an interview where you're rewiring your internal state through these practical NLP techniques and tools. Are you with me? So let me leave you with this. When you're using NLP anchoring techniques, again, we will dive deeper into that. See, it instills confidence, and your brain is that recording device. So what I'm wanting you to do is to program, as we call it, let's program it on purpose. How we install confidence with anchoring by associating a powerful physical gesture. And that gesture starts with your pressing of the thumb and middle finger together, just like this. Now, with that past moment of success, or maybe it's an accomplishment, I want you to think about a moment where you felt powerful. Maybe when you solved a problem at work, or maybe you had won an award, or perhaps it was you helping someone. Now, if you are driving or operating any machinery, I would ask you to come back to this. Stop this recording and come back to it when you're in a safe place. Now, for this moment, for the individuals, I want you to close your eyes and relax fully. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you to press your fingers together and hold that state. And what you're going to do is every day until that touch becomes your trigger for confidence. Yes, little things like this. Now, for me, I hold on to a paper clip. That paper clip is my anchor. Now, here is what I believe is one of the most crucial pieces to the puzzle, where I want you to visualize success before it even happens. And here's the statement. You can write this down, and I'll repeat it again. If you can see it, you can step into it. Think about that. But going in a little deeper, if you are closing your eyes again and visualizing your success before it happens, and you can repeat these words again. If you can see it, you can step into it. Does that make sense? Now see, through visualization, we are taking this mental walk through a successful interview. Your confidence posture, clearer answers, and how you shake maybe someone's hand before and at the end. Now here's another lesson plan that I would like you to do. Every night for the next week, take 5 minutes to close your eyes and visualize yourself walking into that dream job interview. See yourself calm. See yourself smiling. and see yourself answering with clarity. Now, more importantly, I want you to feel success before it is real. Think about that. Feel success before it is real. And here's the interesting thing. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference. Think about that. So now what we're doing is we're training our nervous system to remain calm and grounded. Are you with me? See, many individuals, I know this from experience, they go on an interview and again, they start from old patterns of thinking, old habits, outdated information. So what happens is they become nervous. So here is where you are going to regulate your nervous system. See, in your nervous system, basically, it is that beat of your raw talent in those high pressure situations. So what you're going to do, and then we call this, it's grounding techniques like the box breathing. Think about that. And here it is. You inhale for the count of 4. Hold it for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold it for 4. Are you with me? Very important. Okay, so building unshakable confidence. What we just went through is I explained how to use NLP anchoring techniques for instant confidence. I went over the visualization for success before it even happens. And then the third is we looked at training your nervous system to remain calm and grounded. So as I mentioned, this will be part of our one-day training. We go into the deep teaching of this technology. And like I said, you're not going to be able to learn all this on a webinar. It's just basic information that's going to help you understand what I use to help individuals move forward. And, by the way, help them get unstuck. So, eliminating these invisible job search sabotagers. We look at identifying and reframing your limiting beliefs. We use these meta models, and think about this. That, by the way, is one of the key areas. So you want to write that down, meta models. You can actually Google it if you like. And there's a lot of information out there that can help you. Because remember, it's changing that internal dialogue. That's where you need to move from, removing the past experience. And as we look at installing new empowering belief systems, very, very important that you understand that piece to the puzzle. So when we look at eliminating this invisible job search sabotagers, what we do is we help you uncover and replace subconscious beliefs that block visually your confidence and, by the way, this career momentum. See, you'll know when you're in the zone. Things will just click in that interview. So when you are in the training, again, participants will identify these hidden mental patterns that are sabotaging their job search. And by the way, you know exactly what it is. So here is where the magic happens. You learn how to reframe this by using NLP meta model techniques that I will help you understand and learn. And you will then install these empowering beliefs so that they're aligned with your success. That's right. They are aligned with your goals. So let's take a moment to dive a little deep into this. So identifying and reframing beliefs, or as I call it, your limiting beliefs. So you don't see the world as it is. You see it as you believe it to be. Think about that for a moment. You don't see the world as it is. You see it as you believe it to be. Now, what we want you to do is we want to teach you how to bring awareness to this self-talk. So, for example, I'm not going to mention any names, but people have said, I'm too old. There's too much competition. No one's hiring someone like me. See, you've already talked yourself out of it before you even started. Here is where we look at 3 beliefs that come up during job searches, which create the stress. So then I ask, is this 100% true? Where did this belief come from? Who would you be without it? See, language reveals the structure of your thoughts. So let's decode it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to a simple meta model question that helps destruct vague or negative thinking. So here it goes. It's called deletion. No one will hire me. You heard that. I say no one. Ever. Based on what? Think about that for a moment. And you want to go back and rewind what I just said. Before this moment, we're going to generalize it. And here's what most people have said. And by the way, you might be that individual that has said this as well. I always mess up in interviews. So I say always. What about the time you succeeded? And think about that moment, because it might have been your last job where things just clicked. And here's what we call the distortion. They probably think I'm underqualified or overqualified. My question, how do you know what they are thinking? Are you that individual that is speaking from the other person's perspective without even asking? This is why our one-day training, we dive so deep into this. And what we do is we go through a role playing where we pair you up with one person and we play this inner critic and other challenges that are beliefs using this meta model question. So installing this new empowering belief system, if you want different results, you need a different identity to match it. Think about that for a moment. When we teach you how to replace your beliefs with NLP reframing and anchoring, it helps you, the participant and candidate, where we teach you how to write a belief statement like this. Now you want to come back to this, rewind it, and write it. But for right now, I want you just to listen to what I'm going to say. And this is what a belief statement is like. I am the solution employers are searching for. My experience is my unique advantage. Every interview is a learning win. Think about that for a moment. So what I want you to do, and this is another exercise, is you're going to write down 3 new beliefs. Then, once you have written those out, I want you to speak them out loud using the NLP confidence anchor, which we previously went over. And what you're going to do is you're going to put this to practice where you're reinforcing this on a daily basis for up to 2 weeks. See, I want to train you so that you understand that these new beliefs that you are speaking are going to elevate you. See, your job search isn't blocked by the market. It's blocked by meanings. So every breakthrough begins with a challenge, that silent story they or you have been telling yourself. Does that make sense? Probably not for most of you, but as I mentioned, in the training, we dive deep into that, okay? And here's again, this subconscious language that attracts callbacks. This is probably one of the most fascinating pieces to the puzzle. When you master these embedded commands in your interviews, and you use mirroring language to build instant rapport. By the way, this is the key, and this is where people fail, because you have not, and I mean not, connected with this individual. So what I teach people is how to connect with individuals instantly, where you establish this rapport and you become like-minded. Does that make sense? So, teaching you how to speak directly to these decision makers using subconscious NLP techniques to increase your callbacks, again, by establishing rapport and being somebody that is an influencer. How to influence these individuals. Now, when you learn this language strategy that bypasses resistance and achieves an emotional connection, turning the average response into a memorable, magnetic message. Are you with me? And by the way, you have probably met somebody once before where it was the first time, but you connected with them. There was something about what it was, and by the way, it might have been something that you had in common. Maybe you're at a game. Maybe it was golf. Maybe it's drinks. Not to say that you drink, but there might be something in common. Now here is where we dive in deep. As I mentioned, you will not master your embedded commands in the interview right away, but with practice and training, you will. So when you speak with intention, and listen to this, you lead the listener's internal experience. Think about that for a moment. When you speak with intention, that means you know what you're talking about. You lead the listener's internal experience. This is why rapport is so important. And this is why most people have a different outcome, because they did not have rapport. So in our sessions, we teach you this embedded command. These are these suggestions that are hidden within larger sentences of your communication. And by the way, they are the clues to the subconscious to take action. Now here's an example for you as a job seeker. As we continue this conversation, think about this, the embedded commands. you'll begin to see how I am a strong fit. Think about that sentence and that statement. As we continue this conversation, you are speaking to the hiring person, you'll begin to see how I am a strong fit. You have just positioned yourself. And here's another one, which I think is really a great statement. When you hire someone with my experience, you'll get reliability and innovation. And if you really want to tap in a little deeper, this one here you might want to write down. Imagine me leading that project successfully, bringing clarity to the process. Wow, that's a powerful one. I mean, that is a take charge statement. So when you rewire these common interview answers using one or two embedded commands, you will have a better outcome. Now, when you use what we call the mirroring language to build instant rapport, here's what happens. People trust those who sound like them. Wow, think about that. People trust those who sound like them. So if you're mirroring the language and you're building instant rapport, see, there's this invisible energy. See, mirroring is the tone, those keywords and phrases that build subconscious trust. See, this is what we teach you. Mirroring the hiring manager's tempo and energy. So think about that. When you're in an interview, how is this person positioning themselves? How are they speaking? What is their energy level like? Now, here's a clue that I teach individuals that is so crucial. And they are the key phrases. And when you dissect a job description, you're going to pull out information with statements like cross-functional collaboration, data-driven, stakeholder engagement. Those are just simple terms and statements. Now, more importantly, when you put this to practice, this is the exercise. I call it the 3P principles: prepare, plan, and put it to practice. Here's where you do some role playing in your interview. This is why coaching is so important. See, most people that fail at an interview, they'll always come back saying, oh, I wish I would have did this. But when you don't put it to practice, see, that's why role playing and understanding that interviewing questions. See, the interviewer uses phrases like team-driven, culture, and the job seeker then repeats that. And here's a statement. In every role I've had, I've thrived in team-driven cultures because, and then give them the answer. Now, what that does is that creates this emotional resonance of sound answers. It's fact-telling, it's storytelling, and it's emotional stick. It's the glue. But here's the clue: storytelling. What stories are you telling to engage, to connect? Now, when we look at the logical answers for this easy, sometimes forgotten, see, this emotional charge response, it creates a connection, and it makes the hiring manager feel something. Are you with me? Feel something. If you can move that manager, more importantly, get them to move and feel something about you. That's an important key. And here's the formula: the setback, response, success, and emotion. And let me give you a little bird's eye view of that. As I was leading a project, when two key decision developers quit, they left. That was a setback. But instead of panicking, they brought in a temporary consultant and revised the delivery timeline. That's the response. We finished with a 98% client satisfaction. That's the success. And I realized how much I love leading through uncertainty. That's the emotion. That is a story. You need to create your own story. What did you achieve? What was a project that you work on that maybe was not going so well? So in our training, we do a breakout session where we pair individuals, and then we share interview stories using this formula. And once you receive that feedback, see, the key is we want you to experience this emotional training of thought. What is it that you're saying that is moving somebody? Now, here's the key. When you use real-time feedback by asking, what do you feel during that answer? Did that statement influence you or leave you neutral? We want to help participants become aware, there's the word again, aware of their own words. And are they landing with energy? Are they moving? Remember, get them to feel it. See, that's the most important piece to the puzzle, is to get them to feel that. Moving next into this rewiring of your career identity. When we create your career identity statement, see, that becomes the powerful message that you will then align your beliefs. And here's the key word, the language and behavior. See, this is the disconnect with a lot of individuals that I speak to, thousands. I ask them this question. What is it about them? What do they believe about themselves? And by the way, what are you saying? And what is that behavior? Now, in order to make this happen, we use what we call timeline therapy to release past blocks. That's the old way of thinking, right? The old way of thinking. So when we rewire your career identity in this particular slide, it becomes transformational, alignment, momentum. Remember, you want to keep moving them towards what your end goal is. So when we help you make that shift of outdated self-perception into a powerful career identity that aligns with the next chapter that you're looking to, you will integrate this NLP timeline therapy and new language to reframe what you are saying and what you're communicating. So by the end of that session, you will have this new internal blueprint for your career. It'll update your belief system, your behavior to match it. And the tools to release this emotional block that's tied to old past, maybe job search trauma, or maybe the trauma in the old job that you had. Now, more importantly, as I mentioned, you're hearing me talk about this career identity statement. Why is it important? And here it is. Who you believe you are determines what the opportunities you will allow in. Right up here. Are you with me? Do you believe it? Who you believe you are determines what opportunities you allow in. Now, when we're operating from this outdated self-image, I'm not good enough, I just got laid off. See, you need to be that visionary. You need to awaken that. See, I look at your experience, and if you look at what we call the FAB statement, features, accomplishments, and benefits, you are going to want to write out what are the features about who you are as an individual. What have you accomplished for your last employers? And more importantly, this is the story. What is the big benefit that you bring to the table? But the magic question right here, and this is an exercise that we work on, where you ask yourself, who are you becoming in this next chapter? What is the next chapter for you? And it goes something like this. I am a blank. Your career title is blank. Your mission is this. And who is the core? What do you value? Let me go into this a little deeper. I am a strategic, value-driven operations leader who builds resilient systems and high-trusted teams. Wow! What a statement. Now, when you rehearse this and you put this to practice, see, you elevate your language and you amplify it. That's right. Amplify it with confidence. Your posture, your body language is speaking something. That's why when we help you write your career identity statement and you're speaking it out loud, well, anchoring confidence in your statement. Do you believe what you're saying? See, that's where we're aligning your beliefs, your language, your language and behavior. And here's what we get. A breakthrough happens when what you say, believe, and do finally are in sync. That is that alignment. And when this internal belief doesn't match the external language, see, you second guess yourself with uncertainty. And maybe, by the way, see, your resume might be very strong, but the problem is you don't speak. It's not aligned. So this is where your belief system is crucial. What is the language? And what is your behavior? So when we reframe all this, when you're second guessing, it starts with your belief system. So I tell people that when you're speaking this new language of reframing it, it could kind of go like this. I'm a fast learner and a systematic thinker. The language, I quickly master new technology and platforms in my past role very quickly. The behavior is seeking a role that will technically challenge me and involve me and move me. And when we use this belief audit, as I call it, each individual will list their current beliefs, their challenges. Then what we'll do is we'll look at the meta model to replace that old language pattern, which then now aligns with your current identity statement. Are you with me? Now, most people, they are operating from the past. There are these past blocks. And here's where we work on using timeline therapy to release those past blocks. Now, if you are still reacting from the past rejections, see, that is controlling your future. Are you with me? There are some people that I've spoken to where their communication starts by the past rejections, the layoffs. So you need to control your blueprint, your roadmap for the future. Where are you going? Do you see the future? Now, the timeline therapy allows you to revisit and neutralize your emotional charge around these past failures, being laid off, rejected, or ghosted. So again, I want you to close your eyes, float above that line of rejection. Go back to that first job related to that rejection. That still carries this emotional weight. Now, from this safe, observed perspective, I want you to ask yourself this question. What did I learn? What did I learn? What strengths did I gain? And let go of the emotions while keeping and focusing on the wisdom of your future. Now, I want you to float back, eyes closed. And now feel that release. Let it go. What am I no longer carrying? And what do I now believe about my worth? Okay. You can open up your eyes. Here is an anchoring session. Your resume tells a story of your past. Your career identity tells a story about your future. Let's make sure you're writing the right one. Think about that for a moment, and I'll repeat that again. Your resume tells a story of your past. And this is what we're working on. Your career identity tells a story of your future. Think about that. Your future. Very, very important. So, this one's a really unique one because so many people, this mass applying, see, it doesn't work. This technology that is driving most of these corporations today, AI filters, see, what it does is it actually eliminates you as a candidate. So you need to learn how to be able to modernize that and be very strategic so that it aligns with what your outcome is. Are you with me? Okay. So let me go a little deeper into an explanation. So on this particular exercise, we look into the hiring landscape where we break these addictions to mass applying. I tell people don't apply to a lot of jobs. And what I do is I introduce them to NLP-based strategies to correct their subconscious self-sabotage. See, you might already be applying to these jobs, and setting yourself up to fail. That's right. So when you understand why mass applying is counterproductive in the modern job search today, and how you shift your internal narrative and strategy for greater traction, confidence, and success. See, that's what I teach. Is I teach you to be that person that is the future. Now, here's the thing, those AI filters, I kind of use the words punish non-targeted resumes. So if your resume speaks to everyone, it speaks to no one. Wow, think about that. So these applicant tracking systems sometimes penalize you generally. These non-keywords, optimizing your resume. You as a job seeker need to be very specific with your language that mirrors this job description. And we can use AI to help you generate a resume that fits this role. There are key prompts that I can teach you to use in order to have a better outcome. So remember, when you tailor your resume, there are 50 other generic ones. So hiring managers don't want more applicants. Think about that. They don't want more applicants. And as you see the numbers, you probably have seen thousands of people have applied to one job. See, these managers, they want the right applicant. And how you demonstrate how clarity, not volume, will build credibility. So you will apply to fewer jobs, but go faster in getting results because they match the value, mission, and skill that these companies are looking for. So what you are going to look at is less is more, and strategic applications create confidence. Spray and pray creates burnout. And what we're going to want to do is emphasize this as I use this in our process for our executive search when we're helping folks. We do deep, and I mean deep, company research. And I know you might send out cover letters, but we really dive into personalized cover letters based on the manager. When you find out in this research who this individual is, you are going to customize these resumes to fit. Remember, it's about mirroring not only the manager, but the job description itself. So here is what most people, they have this sabotage of their own strategy. So identify and in reframing this subconscious language pattern is very important. And again, more importantly, as I talked about, awareness. We work on this and we ask you, the candidate, to write down 3 internal thoughts they had while mass applying. What did that happen? What happened to you? Maybe if you sent more, something will stick, right? No. Or you might say, I'm probably not a good fit for this one, but you still submit. Or you're that individual, they won't pick me anyways, but I'll still apply. Now, when we incorporate the meta model challenge, it's based on what evidence? There is a time that works differently. And by the way, who says you are not good enough? That's why we use reframing into this empowering language. Now, when you apply strategically, you become the obvious choice. Think about that for a moment. But we are not just applying strategically, we're using embedded commands. See, that's the difference. These embedded commands, we teach you how to implement this in your strategy so that you become the person of choice. Are you with me? Now, see, your job search strategy is a reflection of your identity. Strategic people apply with precision, not panic. So let's align your mind to match your next move. Okay? Very important. So the breakthrough, and I like this one, when we look at this breakthrough for you, we introduce you to what we call high impactful coaching methods that is trusted by most leaders. Now, what I do is I help guide you. These are exercises that will help you with strategic rooted in proven executive search methods, which I use with NLP, cognitive behavioral framework, and they're tailored personally to help you transform. See, there is a method used by many Fortune 500 leaders. And that message is this: success leaves clues, and we've systemized them. And it starts with this: when we focus on identity, integrating strategic goal framing, and these blind spot awareness, it highlights what we call your identity loop. And it's 4 areas: awareness, alignment, action, and achievement. Man, those are moving. I love that. So the core tools are now the format for all levels of individuals and professionals in transformation into higher performers that are seeking clarity. So these weekly breakthroughs with bite-sized assignments and powerful, and I mean powerful, scripting will help you move forward. With coaching, one-on-one coaching, we guide you with intention. We help you transform because you now are predictable. Individuals will experience the NLP-based breakthrough where we're customizing the framework and offering direct reflections that I will help lead you. More importantly, as I mentioned, the NLP patterns of embedded future pacing. And here's that pattern. As you bring this coaching journey, that's when you work with me one-on-one, you naturally start seeing yourself lead with more clarity, confidence, and calmness. We then install a belief system that helps transform you to this inevitable person that is already unfolding. And the other magic is this cognitive behavioral technique, which is what we call a belief mapping grid. What you believe is driving what you tolerate. Current thought emotions create behaviors that are driven to new thoughts. I'm not ready to lead, people say, anxiety, hesitation, avoiding these promotions. See, I become the leader in this role. You, as a participant in these exercises, we help you complete this grid, that belief block that might be your career, right? So I want you to think for a moment where you have been held back. Maybe it was in a meeting, maybe it was a presentation. What belief drove that hesitation? What happened? That's a scenario that I tell people all the time. Now, this journey isn't about turning you into someone else. It's about becoming who you already been, minus the no fear, the no filters, and no limits. What we teach you is powerful techniques to be more persuasive that align with your flow chart, integrating NLP influencing and leveraging social proof. Now, when you unlock your mindset, that language, and you use these modern tools to become a top performer, then there is a good chance that you'll land roles faster in less time and with clarity, right? Sounds pretty easy, right? But it's not. That's why you need to take the next step. Now, I have a book that I'm working on. It's called The Job Search Breakthrough. So I want you to reserve a copy. You want to read that. But where you'll gain more clarity and more confidence is by registering to become one of my clients on a one-on-one coaching with myself. And I dive deep into helping you awaken that awareness within you. All you have to do is say yes to make that transformation. So, as I mentioned, this isn't just coaching. It's a guided transformation backed with neuroscience, NLP, and leadership strategies designed to help you, the job seeker, not only be better prepared, but to experience your breakthrough. So as I mentioned, when you say yes to your transformation, it starts today. Now you've waited long enough. So just say yes to confidence. Say yes to clarity. Say yes to a career that reflects your full potential. Because when your next level is calling, the only wrong move is standing still. So if you are ready to rewire your mind, your language, and discover how to shift and unlock your career momentum and elevate your confidence and attract more opportunities you deserve, then you want to reserve your next session with me. I want to thank you for joining me today on this webinar. Um, as I mentioned, let's experience your breakthrough coaching opportunity today. Thank you. This is Coach Don signing out. Make it a great day.